Awesome, guys. Super, super excited to be here. I'm bringing on someone who has, what, we meet September, Andrew?
Yeah, September.
September. So I
Damn,
met him in September in Alex Becker's
damn, that's a while ago.
mind. And we just become hella good friends since then. Andrew's actually now the one who's designed our logo. He's designing one of my websites. He's running my Instagram, which you guys should all go follow me on. It's actually it kicks ass. So I wanted to bring him on because we're going to be talking about branding. And he also joined my our private Krusader sales group, and he's just been fucking killing it.
Yes.
Well, I'll let Andrew tell that
Yeah,
story. But with that,
definitely.
man, Andrew, go ahead, introduce yourself, bro. Talk about, what, NFL player, now running an agency. Talk about yourself, man.
Yeah. So obviously, my name's Andrew. Thank you, Nick, by the way, for the intro. I'm a former pro athlete, so I played in the CFL, which is a Canadian version of the NFL. I actually won a Grey Cup in our first year, so got one of these, a little Canadian Super Bowl ring, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, so I started the agency. I actually almost cut my finger clean off, and in an instant, I knew that was my football career is probably done. When you play wide receiver and you kind of mess up your finger, it's not really going to work. And so I'm pretty much, I took a few months, kind of thought about it, and started the agency, man, and just haven't looked back. But recently, obviously with the whole Krusader Nation, I was doing well, and I've been doing well. Like joining Alex Becker's mastermind, like it's a high ticket mastermind, so it's not like it's whatever. But as the years been going on, and just like in any business, you have your highs and lows, and it's crazy because when and I'm not usually one to just hop on a course and whatever. So I got in this course, and man, instantly, like whatever you're doing for your prospecting, whatever you're doing is insane, and using it, I mean, I haven't even utilized all of it, and I pretty much increased my revenue by about 40 to 50%, like real quick. So
That's awesome, man. I love it. Yeah, we're going to jump into some actionable stuff there, guys, because he took some of the things, the videos, prospecting. We're going to talk about exactly how to do it. As always, we're going to give you guys some pure action here. But I want to talk a little bit here about branding, man. It's a term that gets completely misabused. Everyone's talking about personal branding this, branding that. And I feel like there's a lot of BS out there right now too. And there's a lot of people who are selling branding as like a guru coaching service. And, it's like they're working on this personal brand and they're trying to sell things, but there's no systemizing there. And it's a word I hated, but it's really becoming incredibly important. We're very branded in our market for what I've done with our medical stuff. And I'm working with you to do it on another level, man. But I want to talk about that a little bit. So let's just talk a little bit about what you've done in the past with branding, how you view branding, and how that can work for actually direct results. Because I hate when I see like, oh, we got to worry about your brand. Well, it's like, how many sales did you get? Because I'm a numbers guy. Like, I don't give a shit about followers. Like, what's your sell, right? So talk a little bit about branding. Let's start there, and then we'll jump into Instagram as well, because you're crushing it on Instagram right now, just absolutely fucking murdering it, which is where everybody needs to be. But we'll get to that. So let's get started with branding.
yeah, I think the biggest thing when you think about branding is a lot of people, especially like athletes that I talk with, like a lot of them think very short-sighted. And I think people on the internet, especially new people to the internet, they're thinking the same way. Like they're not thinking in a way of, I'm going to be in this space and dominate it for years. They're thinking, oh, I'm going to get to, 250,000 followers overnight and, get in, get out, make some course and leave. But the reality is, if you kind of look at like Grant Cardone and how he's built his brand or any of these guys, like they're playing the long game. They're letting they're going to be themselves all the time. They're not necessarily like they play the system in a way here and there. They'll probably post more or whatever, provide different types of content. But most of the people, when it comes to branding, they're just trying to growth hack or trying to just like shove their way to the top, where instead sometimes it's just taking a slower approach and letting it build. For example, Billie Jean is doing a really good job with that, just letting it build. Now it's like people are reaching out to like go and find his account, and it's pretty much he's doing a lot of it organically. So what I really focus on is really focus on keeping true. Rohan actually, who commented on the post, Rohan speaks a lot about being authentic at all times. And that's, all the success that I've seen in my life, regardless of what any type of success. I'm not saying I'm anywhere near where I want to be, but all that has been just because I just keep it real at all times. Like, there's no point to lie. I can't lie. Like, I'm not good at it. And so you reach a point where it's like, all right, I'm just going to do this the right way. I'm going to just build it. I'm going to take my time, make it slow. And when it's all prepped and ready for blast off, then you can, you know, start applying a lot of those techniques. So,
yeah, so you touched on some things I want to talk about here, because growth hacking is a term that is used often right now, especially on YouTube and Instagram, which, guys, there's going to be a lot coming on those platforms here soon. We need to be paying attention to those. You need to be on them. But there's a lot of people out there growth hacking, and you can do that and you can get followers quickly. And there's people out there who know some crazy tactics, but let's just say those followers aren't always the best. So when you talk about Billy Jean, I'm following Billy Jean stuff too, as anyone who watches it knows I love Billy. He's not growing as fast as some of these other guys, but what he's doing is every follower that comes in is good. They're not random followers, not random people. What we don't understand is, it doesn't matter if you have 50,000, what we want everyone to understand is that if you have 50,000 followers, but nobody buys, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Like, I mean, it might look like but, you know, with Billy, he doesn't have a ton, but he's getting a lot of sales from it. Because at the end of the day, a lot of us, we only need like 100 true fans.
Yeah.
Freaking money here. So there's a big difference between just like straight up growth hacking and then building a real true following. So with that, man, let's just jump right into, you know, some Instagram tips and tricks, because there's a lot of noise out there. As I've told people here, I'm actually watching my account. I've had other people in my account, and it's let's just say I'm happy with what you're producing, right? I'm happy with the types of followers we're getting. There might not be quite as in bulk, but they're responding, they're engaged, they're signing up, you know, so there's just a big difference with that. So let's talk about that, how to do that, and maybe give some people some tips on, first off, let's start with why Instagram. Why is Instagram so important right now? Just so everyone knows, Russell Brunson said it's the most important platform to be on at Funnel Hacking Live. And when Russell Brunson says shit, we should listen. So let's start with why you think that, and then also let's get into some actionable tips guys can do in order to start building a brand, start getting stuff going out there.
Yeah, so definitely. So with Instagram, just like you were saying, it's very important to be authentic. And so when it comes to growth hacking, the reason there's multiple ways you can growth hack. So growth hacking is essentially just being relevant. Like, that's what gets you ranked up on Instagram's algorithm, is just being relevant. People want to see you. You know, if you use, for example, a big strategy right now people are doing is reposting viral content. Well, why does that work? Well, it works because it's viral. It works because it's worked here for someone. People are talking about it. They're interested in it. It's going to work. You're going to attract an audience. But the thing is, what can you do to keep them? And if you just always are posting something that's like viral content, you might grow very fast, but it's hard to kind of transition to being more authentic. And so that's kind of where that line gets drawn. And what, like you said, what Billy does very well, it's he's just authentic all the time. And now, like, I'm seeing his account, it's like almost going parabolic. Like, it started, you know, decently small, and I've been with him for, you know, since I think you told me about him actually, but he had like maybe 5,000, and now I'm certain he's over 15, you know, 20,000. And I know they're good followers. You can tell, like, they're very engaged. So I think it's very important when you're on these kind of platforms, especially like you said, Instagram, how it's going to be one of the fastest movers. And the reason why, I mean, it's everything you want from a platform right in front of you. Like, since I've been on it, it's everything you want. It's visual, so it appeals to the visual people. It appeals to the copy, because you can read a little quick story. But it's really good for personal videos, so I can see like what is kind of going on in their life. And with my age group and your age group, our age group, so like 20, I'd say like 21 to like probably like 35. That's killer for stories. And obviously, you know, with the whole swipe up, you know, Instagram is just the place right now for young adults to really be and kind of connect. Now, the next generation is going to be Snapchat and probably, you know, some of these other apps. Musically, I know, is growing still, which is crazy.
So I want to jump in on Instagram, guys, because I'm going to be talking a lot about this, because I've been following this for a while. Becker has been yelling at us to get on Instagram and YouTube since at least September of last year, because he's killing it on there. And what people want to learn, guys, and I'm going to talk about how this relates to actually getting agency clients here shortly, because Andrew can really speak on that, because I know he's gotten tons of clients through it. And we'll get to that. But I want to talk about the importance of it first, because, like, I'm big on, like, don't just go do it. Understand why it works. So why people love Instagram is because people are obsessed right now with reality TV and connecting with people. And this is as real as it gets. So you can see inside the lives of people. People are sick of, you know, structured stuff. That's why big brands are getting hurt right now. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to connect with people. That's why there's so much amazing opportunity right now in the branding space. We just want to be clear on what branding is, how to build it up. And Instagram, you can get real peeks into your daily life when you do Instagram stories. And it's incredible, man. The feedback I'm getting from people. I mean, I've literally had like a dozen people in the last week say that I'm like changing their life in PMs.
You just got a DM. You just got a DM from a guy working from a multinational company who's like, I'm going through, I just broke up with my girlfriend. I almost want to quit my job. Like I can show it to the screen almost. Like this is real life. And like you said, I think the biggest thing when branding and when focusing on that is once again, I know I've touched on it several times, but it's really just, what message do you want to be out? Because the internet's forever. And I think a lot of people it hasn't hit them yet to where they realize the internet is forever. So you can do that stuff, but it's tagged to your name. And so when you put your name behind something, what are you putting your name behind? And that's important. That's very important. And it's very easy to be an authority on the internet. Check this out. My 3-step process to do an X. Right away, I'm an authority. If you signed up, you think I'm smart and great. It doesn't matter even what my background is. It's very easy to come across as an authority figure to make an ebook, pay a guy $5 or $7 to make you a quick, you know, book cover or, you know, whatever you want to call it. Have a 3-page ebook you put your heart into, boom. Next thing you know, you're an expert. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, man, the expert build, you can build it so fast. I've had multiple people reach out to me asking to be podcasts, be interviewed in books, all because I'm just out there talking. And one of the big things for me, and it was actually really difficult, believe it or not, even though you guys who watch me know that I'm all energetic and pumped up. Like I was just like sitting there at Instagram because I don't really get it. I don't really use Instagram, I'll be completely honest, but I know everyone else does. And I got to do what the market does. And I'm always like, does anybody really give a shit like that I'm going to yoga this morning at 5 a.m.? But guys, you'd be shocked at how much people want to watch that stuff, okay? So like this, I know a lot of you guys might be thinking about Instagram. What do I post? What would I do? And Andrew's mentioned be authentic several times. It's literally just talk about your life. Like Russell Brunson has like 100,000 followers. Like I can't follow him on there because he shows his kid the whole time. But there's a lot of people, you know, and it's mind-blowing because people want to learn about what other people are doing. Gary Vaynerchuk's been saying this for years, and I think it's really starting to catch on to the marketing community, and we all need to be ready to take advantage of this because it's a huge opportunity. And he's talking about document everything because people want to watch what other people are doing. It is so critical for us to connect with others. So if you guys are nervous about getting started on Instagram, things like that, just go out there and post shit, right? You know, just go out there and post stuff. You know, and for a beginner Instagram, Andrew, if people are on here and they're like, you know what, I should do it. Let's talk about, you know, some ways to get started. And then also a lot of people on here, we've got a mix and match of a lot of people. Guys, drop us down in the link, actually. Let me know in the comments if you guys are using Instagram right now, if you're ever on it, if you've got a following. But what I want to talk about is some ways to get started. And then also, have you shared some of your tactics for getting clients on Instagram? Because I know we've talked about that a lot as well.
Yeah. So, and actually getting clients on Instagram, honestly, getting clients on a lot of these platforms is way easier than a lot of people might think. So what I do when I focus on Instagram and you know, this will be exclusive for your group, is I create like a quick branding kit. And so it's actually not hard. So what you can do is literally go on Canva. If you guys have Canva, it's free. You can literally just make like a little PDF that's probably like a page or two long, just a quick little 1-pager, maybe it's long, showing all the good insights about your account, what you can bring, blah, 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 blah. Or let's say it's a client's account, which is what we do for like local cross promotion with businesses. And we'll just literally email them. Like on Instagram, if it's a business page, they literally have their email. But check this out. A lot of these businesses, especially if they're kind of small, they're the ones holding the phone. They're the ones answering the DMs. They're the ones checking it. And if you can find a way to, as always, don't just run in there, unless it's like a formal email. But if you're just sliding in the DMs, don't slide in there like, I want to be a brand ambassador. I want you to give me free stuff. Like, that's ridiculous. You know, no one's going to hear you out. The same tactics apply. Treat them like a human being in person. Recognize if you really want to be a brand ambassador and they think you're serious, it's not about closing them on day one. It's about establishing the beginning of the sales process and beginning the cycle to where you close them is all the same, whether it's over Instagram or whatever. Push to get them on the phone. Once you get their number, close them. It's the same instance. Now, when it comes to getting started, I might take a lot of heat on this one, but that's okay. A lot of experts might, you know, say whatever.
What's Rohan
I personally
watching?
yeah. I know Rohan's probably watching. He's gonna be like, God, geez, Andrew, like, what are you doing? You can't tell him that. But I'll be honest with you guys. If you're just starting out on Instagram, you're brand new, you got like no followers. I'm gonna tell you very honestly, you might think your content's very interesting, but it's not getting out there. So step one, let me get the part out of why they'd hate me. I personally just start out to about 500, about 1,000 followers on a new account. I'll do the unfollow follow tactic. So I'll like personally go in there, or I'll follow, or I'll have a little bot do it very slow so it looks extremely organic. But I like to do that just to get it out of the way so I can make my ratio right off the jump, 1,000 followers to 200 of who I'm following, or maybe less. That way my account right from the beginning, when people see it, it's like, oh, this is an up and coming account that's going to be hot. No one knows it yet. He's actually following me back. He thinks I'm legit. All right, cool, let's go. And at the next piece is, I feel like once you kind of get a decent ratio that you're comfortable with, it's learning the hashtag culture. And I know you actually came on my live stream and kind of talked about that, but it's very important. It's because understanding how different ways you can interact with people. There's some hashtags that might have a ton of uses, but don't get any more engagement on them. Or there might be some hashtags that you're like, this has like maybe 30,000 uses. Why aren't I ranking in there if I'm getting 500, 600 likes? That's because, a hashtag like, I don't know, movement culture might be really big in the fitness industry. Whereas like, Chest Monday or whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, Fitness Friday, Flex Friday, there's so many other ones. It might not work because those hashtags are dying out. People aren't really searching those as much.
Okay. So, I've heard that before. I know there's a lot of people out there, growth hacks, blah, blah, follow like things like that. Because I know people can still do it, right? I mean, we know people who've done it up to 50,000 Instagram followers to make a ton of money.
Oh, yeah. People do. So, right now it's gone.
One thing I want
to cut you off here. Oh, okay. Sorry to cut you off here. So anyone that might be run into some Instagram experts too, a lot of what they're pulling out right now, and this is the crazy part of Instagram, why I'm saying it's hot. Get in here before a lot of these changes are going to be made on these accounts. But a lot of people have what's called like follow farms. And what they have is they'll have one account follow somebody, but then they'll have these bots set up to where it's a trigger. So when one follows you, it triggers this bot to follow all the people that this bot follows, which triggers this bot to do the same, which has this, or it will be likes or comments. And so it's very important when you're on Instagram, like, to really make sure of the attention and the crowd you're gathering, because you might find yourself caught in one of those loops and then you get, in trouble with shadow banned or something like that. So all the people that are new to Instagram, be careful if you do the follow, unfollow stuff and you're following by hashtag, that's not going to work for you. What I do, if I'm looking to follow some, just steal someone's followers or learn, maybe connect with another different micro audience, is I do exactly that. I find micro influencers and I look through their following. I'll see if they're open to doing a shout out, whether it's a paid shout out, if my content works good. $15 on their account to put a video of something, for one of my clients, for myself, that's going to go a long way. And especially on Instagram. So I think it's important to recognize there's a lot of different ways you can get in front of people. It's the exact same as anything, though, in just sales. It's just sell. That's it. Just sell.
Yeah, sales, man. So I want to touch on that before I jump into some of the video prospecting and the 10K in 3 days and some of the amazing stuff you do. So on the last call we had last week, he was actually saying that he is the doctor who runs a practice, runs his Instagram. And you brought this up earlier, which is why I wanted to touch on it for everybody, because this could be a gold mine right now. And I'm going to put my new sales coordinator on this hardcore. He basically was, he was responding to certain marketers who were reaching out to me, thought it was interesting because they're not being blown up on that platform. And a lot of times if it's a local business, which a lot of people in this group focus on local businesses, they're going to see that type of stuff. So just talk a little bit more about these. You said the email is on there, so you directly email them through Instagram. How would you go about doing that? What would something like that look like?
It's actually way easier than you might think. But what I will say is a lot of it depends. Like I haven't targeted doctors. To me, that's just been way too boring. But if you target like some of the niches I target, like restaurants or like gyms, you got to recognize one thing. You can start the sales process, but they're still going to recognize you found them on Instagram. So if you think you're going to close them for probably a 3K package, well, it's going to take a little bit of time. So the thing with Instagram right now is we're getting a lot of like trials or like, like paid trials, but trials.
Yeah.
So where it's like 500 to 1,000. Cause I think that's kind of like their tolerance, at least what I'm running into, their tolerance level. And then I can push them to the 3,000. But in terms of just getting them right away on that, that has not happened once. So
and you're emailing them straight up to start the process. Is that what's
yeah.
going on?
I do a lot. So I'll DM them and then I'll email them. And then if they have a Facebook page, I'll write the Facebook page.
Just bring it in, guys.
Yeah,
I love it.
Once I saw how you kind of explained it. Yeah, once you explained it, I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm just going to get all over it.
We got to surround them. Guys, LinkedIn, Instagram, we get directly in front of people, okay? Email is amazing. Don't get me wrong. We want to use email. You want to have that, but you want to surround people. And this is just another way to do it. I love that. Bringing the DMs there. We have someone who does kind of, some outside sales for our agency as well. He kind of brings us, we have a little deal with him, and he's actually been generating a bunch of stuff through Instagram DM. So I'm going to, just in DMing doctors, starting stuff up like 1-2 phone calls. In fact, I think we might've just had one closed. We just had 2 deals closed. I think it was one of the ones from him. Anyways, it works, guys. So I would give that a shot. Start looking at Instagram DM, start looking for businesses on there. Braden, I see your question. It's a good question here. He's got one for you, Andrew. He said he has an account with 35,000 followers, but horrible engagement, like really bad. He used follow, unfollow to get here. Should he create a new account?
I know there's a website. I don't have it off my head. I'm sure you can find on Google. Check to see if you're shadow banned. That would be thing one. And then I would just see if you can activate it. If they're real followers, they're legit, they're not bot. Well, then I'd just start producing video content. I mean, that's what's going to win these people.
Yeah. So if it's fine and it's not engaged, just start doing content and watch it grow.
Yeah.
That's actually what we've been doing on mine. I had a very low engagement on mine. And now we're starting to see a hell of a lot more. Anyone who wants to see this, guys, you can see this. Go look at, Jesus, hold on one second. Go look at my account. Go scroll down a couple months ago. Look at how many likes I was getting and how many comments, like none. Now look at what's going on. We're getting 30 comments, 40 comments. So this stuff can be rebuilt. I had a feeling you were going to say that, Andrew, because that's kind of what we're doing. So Braden, I would keep that. If anything, that 35K does 100%. Look a little bit now. People see nothing on there. It is what it is, but let's transition. It's been about 20 minutes, half hour now. Let's transition over to, 10K in 3 days and 50% increase to your business. I think you told me about $30,000 or $40,000 worth of deals in the last month and a half or something like that. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that, man, and drop some knowledge of what we can do and give some good tips there.
Yeah, so just going back to that, I forget who had the question quick. One thing that will also help your engagement groups. So literally just find similar accounts on Instagram, DM them, and share likes. That's it. Like everything on Instagram is collaboration. Like that's all you got to think. But now going back to that. Yeah, when it comes to sales, I mean, it's crazy, man. So once again, at the time, I don't know how much in depth of the story I want to publicly share. But essentially there was a moment where I was in a really bad spot. And in fact, I even getting the course, I was like, ooh, that's kind of tight. But it's like, I saw who was selling it. I saw how it happened. I owed a lot of money in tax because last year we made a lot of money and I did not prepare for tax. And so I was just like, literally, I went through like endless tremors. Like I was shaking every day. And I just remember we've been in talks for a long time. So I know just like hearing I'm like, man, if this guy can do it, no offense. Like, I think you're a swell guy, but I don't think anyone's any different than me. And so I'm like, if this guy's selling this, man, you're telling me I can't do like I have to. I literally at the time, I was going to probably lose the company if I didn't bring in 10K of new cheese, because the way it had worked out, I have, 4 full-time employees, 3 part-time. These guys all have families to feed. And it reached a point where I was given a 14-day window to make 10K. Now, there's probably some of you watching this, like if John Logar's in here, he's probably like, dude, that's like that's a Sunday brunch. But, for me, that was a huge mountain. It looked huge. But I just kind of started at step 1 and really thought about it. And I followed a lot of your strategies. And the biggest one is omnipresence, which is, I'm a huge believer of it now, huge believer of it. And I was just relentless. I mean, I got up every day at 5 a.m. Like I didn't give myself a chance to back out. And, You know, it's crazy because I gave myself 2 weeks to make 10K and I did it in 3 days. And, you know, I know I told it in the group, I shared it with the group a bit. And after I made that, so I made 10K in about 3 days, and I spent about the next 6 or 7 just mentally just like burnt out. Like I said, I had tremors, shaking, and then literally just kind of seeing, you know, being in the group, seeing the strategies, literally the mindset piece. I don't think entrepreneurs, I'm a huge mindset guy. You know, you're one of the biggest mindset guys I know, but you're everything, biohacking, every type of way to just be a better human. You're learning that. And so kind of taking a lot of what you've learned and just like, man, like I got this guy telling me he used to do all these bad things. And I've been a pretty good guy, huge majority of my life. So it's not like I was an addict or I had a problem with anything. And I'm hearing like, man, you had a gambling problem or whatever your issues. That's not my story to tell, but whatever your issues, I'm like listening to you talk and I'm like, man, I got none of that. And what's my excuse? And so it's just, I got back in the saddle, man. I did it again. And so now I'm at a point where even right now, I'm like, holy geez, like I feel like I can make 10K on any time I want. And that's something that's very important because when you first get pushed to that limit to where you don't have a choice, well, when you make that choice that you actually, you know, it's not as big of a limit as you think and you get it, then it just becomes like, all right, how did I get there? Now I know how I got there. So now it's like, all right, let's make 20K in a week. You know, let's double up these numbers.
The power, it wasn't a gambling problem, bro. It was a bit of a drinking and alcohol problem. UIs, drugs, failing out of college, you know.
Going on Facebook Live, just telling some whole made up story of you, just, you had all these. I have no clue.
I did have to gamble every day when we first started this thing and put my entire bankroll on the line, which was a whole $2,000 that I charged credit card every night when I started this thing. But I love it because I talk a lot about the confidence that comes with learning to be able to sell, because I'm of the belief that you can sell yourself at any situation. And when you start doing it and it's done in a process way where it's something that wasn't luck, right? One of the big problems I have going back to some of the organic branding stuff that's going on is it's not like scalable. It's not scalable and it's not always consistent, right? I'm not saying don't have organic stuff. Don't try and make organic sales. Obviously you should, but like posting in random Facebook groups, none of that shit pisses me off. If I ever see anybody fishing in this group, they're going to get fucking, it's going to be, that shit is so annoying. Like, don't make these stupid value posts that just are literally looking for business. I hate that. So I love that story, man. It's really awesome to hear because it does provide massive confidence. Now let's talk a little bit, you know, about some of the strategies used to do it, right? So I know one of the things that we talked about was the videos and custom videos, and video arts, like that. So let's talk about that because I talk a lot about that on here.
The videos were insane. But let me just tell everybody, I still to this day have not sold my friends or family. If friends have wanted to work with me, it's only ever been like, I'll work with you. I've never once publicly put on my Facebook, hey, I'm looking for clients. So this is all these are all strangers. This is all new people. Now, when it comes to just going to the strategies, so in the course, I went through one of your big things was aside from the omnipresence, which honestly, his strategy for omnipresence is probably more important than the video piece or anything. I mean, the video piece is probably like, it makes a lot of sense when you like just think about it. So it's not like game-changing stuff, but what is game-changing is the coaching he provides on how to run it. You know, and I've been coached on how to run like, you know, big webinars from Becker, which is where we met, which is why I signed up, was to close these clients on that. But your process, you know, it's very apparent you're actually doing it in your business, because going through this pitch, and guys, like I'm telling you, and I just want to say this before I go on record, this video pitch, when you hit it, it's insane. Like it's insane. I know just alone for selling websites, I'm eight of my last 11 that I've seen the video sales pitch, and number 9 is just teetering right there. And the thing is, it's been a sale. You know, it's a website sale, but I like to sell the websites to get the marketing. So I offer like a free month of, you know, all these extras, and it's a great price website. And then I'm like, okay, I just sold 2 of these here. Clearly that's too good a price. So I raised the price $300. I'm like, all right, clearly this is too good. So I raised the price $500 and just keep selling. So right now I'm probably at too high of a price to sell a complete stranger on the spot. I'm almost at $3K to sell them on a website. Like, you know, just a simple personal website. So, you know, I'm kind of bouncing in between it, but other than the last 2 I've pitched that are, you know, the highest I've pitched it for our website promos, it's man, it's like it's where almost all that new revenue I'm talking about, I'd say 85%. Alone in websites I've done just in the last, like, of those weeks, the 3 days, I think it was 8.5K of that was from a website, 2K was from another client, and then just this last week it was 10K in website sales, and then a random consulting sale at the end of the week.
Yeah,
So
man. It's the pitch and the qualifying call and everything there. That's one of the things I've heard most. And I gave a little bit of anyone who's on here, if you haven't gone and watched one of the first lives, I gave like a brief introduction.
mm-hmm.
Some of them shocking to me. There's so many courses and shit out there. And nobody talks about how to run calls, and it's because majority of the course people don't actually have agencies. I encourage you guys to start checking, the backgrounds on some of this agent stuff. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about omnipresence, because I want to make sure anyone watching this got some actionable stuff. We talked about it a little bit before, but like, what would you do to get, to start that conversation? What did that look like to get that conversation and take it to the sales call?
Yeah, so definitely. I won't give away too much about what you got going on, but I like to start with an email. So I think that's the first thing you should always kind of do with a lot of these customers. Start with an email. If they don't check your email, probably same day if you send it in the morning, I like to do a follow-up call. Just check and see if they picked it up, see if I can get through to the person I'm trying to get a hold of. And if I can't, one thing I've been doing, which has actually landed me a lot of clients, is I actually message the Facebook page. So I'll just ask them, be like, hey, I have a question about your page. Like I said, I'll slide in on some DMs. Literally, like, the way I see it is this. If you know what you're going after, similar to what you said, and why I think this works so well for you, is like you literally pinpoint it's like you're a shark in water, because you have them surrounded and they're just there, and you have all the reasons of why they'd say yes. And without them, consciously saying no, you've given them you've solved all their no's. Does that kind of make sense? And that's one thing I'm focusing on right now, is if they're to look at any of the branding, any of the pieces I've put out, at the very least, they'll understand that I'm a person who gets, like, if I say I'm going to do something, it gets done. And that's all I want my clients to know. Like, I'm not the best marketer alive. I don't care to be. I'm not saying I'm here to, whatever. I'm just here to change and transform their lives. Because if I can help someone, be one step closer to whatever they're trying to do, that's going to bring me so much for me. And if I try my hardest to do it, they'll recommend me to everyone. Now, if working smart, I have pathways to do it, way better, way faster, and way whatever, from talking with smart people like you, and other people and whatever. And I think that's how I've done my level up, is just by being an authentic person, really focusing on always being honest, real, genuine, not for example, like I said, last year we made a lot of money real hot. I was blessed to play football and get drafted and see a lot of that fakeness in the world, to where I see how people treat you when you're up here. And then the second I cut my finger off, I see how people treat me when I was down there. And I think it's very important to always, in this game, is, once again, it's a long game. You're in it for a while. Keep level-headed. And, that's been my focus, man. And that's what's just allowed me to continuously sell and surround them when I'm doing it, because I know exactly who I'm going for. All my branding's consistent on my stuff. I'm a guy who's going to get it done. You either believe me or you don't. And I surround them. And I don't give them a choice. Results.
Oh, yes. So surrounding, guys, this is how you surround somebody, okay? This is the high-level overview of it. This is what I recommend everybody do. This is what I did, and I still have people on my team do. We do a lot of other stuff now. We spend a lot of money in ads, things like that. But this stuff we're still doing is you pick 20 targeted businesses, right? 20 people that you want to work with, that are qualified, that have budgets. You can tell this because you find them in radio ads, newspaper ads, TV ads, anything like that. Get as much contact information as you can from them. Get as many email addresses as you can, phone numbers, things like that. And then you go over and you send them an email directly to them. Okay, I always believe in having cold email blasts going on in the background. I'll get to LinkedIn in a second too, because the LinkedIn shit's fire.
So you're giving them the keys right now. All right, I love it. Let's do it again.
Overview, bro. I'm good. I'm gonna give them an overview, because again, I wanted to always be dropping college and all that stuff. But yeah, you do that, and then you send them an email, and then you follow up with them, and then you send a message to their Facebook page, then you send a LinkedIn message, and then you call them again the next day, and then you send them a direct mail piece. Like, that is the surround right there. You know what I mean? Hit them from every angle. Good prospects, direct message them. You will get their attention. They get pitched all the time by spammers. Trust me, the spam cold email stuff works. So we've got stuff that we go over in the course that absolutely works. But I love the custom list because you go after. It's almost like Russell Brunson. He always talks about the Dream 100, right? And this is almost what we're doing. And we're speaking directly to them. Like you said, you know who you're going after, you know exactly how you can help them, and you're specific about it, right? You're very niche down as well. That's another thing that I want to touch on every single call, all the time. Like, niching down, guys, is so hyper important. I'm going to shoot a video on it. I'm going to pin the damn post. Niche down, okay? Like, you cannot be everything to everybody. In order to understand your market, to sell more, you must you need to niche down and choose one. Now, that doesn't mean if you have no clients or anything like that, you have to, choose a niche. Like, go figure out what your niche is. Go talk to friends, whatever, But that is the surrounding your prospect in a nutshell. Okay, and it's what we need to do in this day and age. I mean, we need to hit them from every angle. Think about it. They're like, this motherfucker sent me shit on LinkedIn. He sent me on email. Like, who is this guy? And it's if you can tell that you said authentic a lot, and I love that word. If they can tell that it's somebody who's really trying to help them and is not just blasting them, there's no mismatch in the messaging, chance they can respond. It works. This stuff works. When I used to send out 20 custom videos and emails to people, I would get 1.5 clients out of every 20 videos. And this was back before I figured out a lot of other shit to shorten that process. It took like 50 hours to make 20 videos. But guess what I did? Every single week, those videos. Then 25 hours of following up. Guess what? It was a lot of freaking work. But that's how we got from 0 to 100,000 in, like 10 months, 100,000 a month. Yeah. So awesome, man. I love that you just took it and you did it, bro. Just in the background, boom, hustled. I'm a big hustler. I've been seeing out there, again, in certain groups, in certain places, this idea that we shouldn't have to work that hard and this work-life balance. Yeah, you want to have fucking balance, right? But do you want – Elon Musk says it, like, great. He's basically like, well, if I'm working 100 hours a week and you're working 40 hours a week, I'm going to get accomplished in, 4 months what you're going to do in a year. Who's going to get there? Yeah. And I'm not saying to never take time off or anything, but like, guys, it takes work, especially at the beginning. It's not freaking easy. Okay. So I'm a big believer in the hustle. You don't have to be all Gary Vee about it and rather, be working with your family, right? Yeah. But I love it because you went out there, you did it, you're surrounded, and you're still crushing it, man. Like, that's awesome.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. And one thing I'll say, because we're big mindset guys, man, so I'll make a little piece here for the audience. One thing that's very important, I mean, just like you said, omnipresence, all that's there. But if your head's not in the game, like, let's just really go to that. Because one thing, like I'm telling you guys, in the course, and this isn't a push to get at, like, whatever. Like, I want them to. It'll change your life. But, I mean, if you don't want it, whatever. But the mindset piece that I think a lot of you guys don't get is really like, before I start my day, I know you talk about priming, but the reason that's important, it's like, even in football, and this is how I mentally started transition to like, okay, these lessons make sense to me, because this business world didn't make sense to me for like, it still doesn't a lot of times. Like, I don't get it sometimes. And I'm trying to like process, but when you can relate it. So when I'd relate it, I was like, okay, priming, why does priming make sense? Well, let me just give you a little breakdown of why it makes sense. And I think for the people just starting out, because I've been there where you're starting out and it sucks. You see all these people making money and you're like, well, why isn't this working for me? So here's one reason that it might not. And if it's this, then the other reason I'll explain after. So reason one, what I do before I start my day or before I start a game or practice, before I work out, I have a quiet moment to myself to where I hype myself up. And it's like, that's why priming, when I started making sense why priming works, it's like, just like putting in your pregame music, like you're about to go out there and crush it. I think that not enough people are doing that. They're not treating a sales call like a pregame. You're going to war. And I think the second thing is, if you're not seeing the success you want in landing clients, I mean, you're probably not working hard enough. That's just the reality. Like you said, it's smart and hard, whatever. But I'm telling you, if you're ever starting a business, there's a reason so many people quit. It's because you realize my workload starts up here and then goes here. Whereas if you have a job, your workload starts here and it ends up there as you scale your job. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that that's the, am I doing that right? Whatever. When you're a business owner, you start here and you finish off by not really doing too much. If you run a good business, a systemized business. So I think that's important to recognize, is getting yourself in the game and then just work. Literally just if you're just starting out, you're not going to work Tai Lopez smart. You're not. I don't care who you are. I do not think you are. Even if you're the smartest brainchild in the world, because even then, if you're only working smart, you're not pushing your own personal capacities, which might mean $1 million your first month, let's say. I don't know, whoever this might be, this whiz kid. And if your capacities can withstand 10x that, what is your personal goal? So measure against your own time, but just make sure you like get out there and actually do something.
Yeah.
After you hype yourself up.
No, and I'm so glad you talked about it. And I make posts in here as well. This is another big thing missing from the entrepreneur community, is this focus on mindset. And mindset and personal development changed my life like 9 years ago. I just gave some brief glimpses into my background. I was not exactly the best human being. But since then, I've been obsessed. I was given a book by Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within, and then Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, the two books that fundamentally changed my life. Your psychology needs to be good, especially in sales when you get on sales calls, or else it's gonna flank. Like, I mean, Tony Robbins says, and I 100% agree, success in anything is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. Like, yeah, you can't be doing the dumbest shit in the world, right? But you have to be in state. You have to be ready to go. Everything you're talking about getting pumped up, you have to be in a good state. What we do around the office all the time is power V. We just get we get ready to rock and roll as we're going in, and we get jacked up. And every single morning I'm just coming, because I sit there and I meditate in the morning, then I go to the gym and I'm listening to the motivational music, and I'm doing all this type of stuff. And throughout the day, I'm constantly focused on making sure my mind is good, it's powerful, and it makes such a tremendous difference. I actually put together a PowerPoint on mindset. I actually gave last night to a couple of select people. I'll probably give it to this group during one of these lives, where I just really go deep into it, how to really start developing an unstoppable mindset. And first, it begins with understanding that all of life is literally a voice inside your head narrating the environment around you, and that there's something watching the voice in the back of your head. There's the voice that talks, and there's the observer of the voice. You're not the voice. We don't have to be this endless thing that is constantly spiraling us out of control and being super negative. And when you learn how to direct that voice, and you learn how to control it and lead it, and you don't let it lead you like so many people do, because it'll lead you off a cliff, because the mind is
powerful, man. Wow.
It's not designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you alive. And we need to understand that, because if we think about simple things like fear, right? Fear is literally the most absurd thing 99% of the time, right? We're not running from saber-toothed tigers anymore. Like, we're scared to talk to people. But guess what? Those other people are scared to talk to you. We've got 7.5 billion people on this planet who are all fucking afraid of each other and worried about what each one of us is thinking about each other. And it's stopping us. Like, one of the things I think is the 2 F's. These are the two biggest things as to why people don't take action and why people don't follow through on their goals. And that is faith and fear. So people lack faith and belief, and this is going to work for them. This is actually going to be able to change their life. And then they have fear of what they're going to look like to other people. What if it doesn't work? What do other people think of me? Well, it's like, how the fuck are you not more afraid and fearful of the alternative, of working until you're 65 the rest of your life? That's what you should be scared of. Right? We've got an opportunity right now that the world has never seen. This is the best single opportunity that we have in order to create an income.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, like, oh, everybody's doing Facebook marketing, or everybody's doing AdWords. I promise you they are not. And it's because you live in this thing that's called confirmation bias. So you see what's around you and you start to get really hung up on that. You think it's everywhere. I promise you it's not. And the market's going to explode over the next 5 years. There's a ton of businesses that aren't even online yet. Their e-commerce is like only like 18% of purchases are online. Like, think about that. That's absurd. I heard somebody say e-commerce was dead the other day. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? It hasn't even got started. It's like, yeah, maybe
not even close.
Get from AliExpress for 30 cents. You're selling crappy items in a cold Facebook ad. It's not. And
with no follow-up strategy.
Yeah, I love that you brought this up. You can tell I get fired up about this stuff. Like, there's a real passion for me, because there's certain people I've worked with, one-on-one, and really helped build bulletproof mindsets. And it's something that I've done over time, and I'm obsessed with. Like, I'm going to Tony Robbins for my birthday. I'm going to Tony Robbins in Chicago. Like, that's what I wanted. Like, that's the type of stuff I do. I read books on the regular. I've got multiple books right here. Urban Monk, all kinds of stuff like on Yeah, anyways, it's so hyper important, and people don't, they're either reluctant to it, they're closed-minded to it, they think that they're perfect, whatever it might be, but we really need to understand that we must work on ourselves, because if you're not ready, money isn't going to come, you're not going to get where you want. And that's just it's just a fact. So I'm going to be talking about that. I try and make posts almost every day in here on that type of stuff, but I'm going to continue doing that, and we're going to have some lives directly on it. So I love that you brought that up, because you're a big mindset guy as well, man. But while did you have something to say?
I was just gonna say, and something to remember too for beginners is, if you do fail, like for example, with me, you wake up at like 4:35. Like I started doing that, but I'm telling you guys, it's not easy to do all the time. Like I used to do it in college for football, but when you start like work, I don't know, it's hard. But I think the big important thing is to recognize it's hard now, and I don't always wake up at 5. Some days I get up at like 9:30. Like it is what it is. But the goal is, if you do make that mistake, just have the mental toughness to not let someone go, "Oh, I told you getting up at 5 was hard." Then you just get back at 8 a.m. every day, for the rest of your life, or 7:30. If you have a goal and you mess up once, just restart. It's okay to do that.
Yep. Let's talk about that. I want to talk about a concept really quick, because I went over this last night. I could talk for like just hours and hours of concepts and analogies, but this is the one that I want to focus on tonight. Guys, let me know if you like this type of stuff, because I can really drop a lot on mindset. But what I want to talk about is this concept of where focus goes, energy flows. And this is this is probably the single most important concept in life. So what you just said about letting other people get to you, that means you're thinking about it. You're sitting there worried about it. You're letting your brain just spiral out of control. And guess what? It's not going to do shit. All you're doing is telling yourself a story about something that happened that literally has no bearing on reality, right? So you need to start becoming conscious of what your brain is focused on, because what we look for in life, we get. So the people who sit around and watch the media all day and watch fucking CNN and Fox or whatever, CNN just happens to be the worst, all these news, they think that the world's like about to end and everyone's super fucking racist and we all hate each other and it's over and garbage. Yeah. But then you go talk to people, it's like, well, it's not that bad. Yeah, there's all kinds of problems, right? But it's like, but you're focused on it. You all of a sudden you start spiraling. You focus on the news. We're not doing anything to change the news. Yeah, the politics suck. The government sucks. We know that, right? Like that's fine. Like, that's what we got. We've got to worry about what we're focused on, because we're focused on the negative. We're focused on a bad sales call, for example. That's another thing that can spiral people out, because then it can lead to the next sales call and it can be like, oh shit, I fucked this up last time. Okay, so you need to start controlling your focus and focusing on the good in life, and always look for the positive. I have a rule. Anytime fires happen around here, anytime shit goes bad, I say that's good. I learned this method from Henry Ford, great biography. And he was like one of his factories fucking burned down, and he lost like $2 million in like 1900, which would be
wow, yeah.
And he said, that's good. And you know why he did that? Because he said that he was able to learn from it. He was able to pick up from it. There is good in every single situation. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. Okay, and you guys know people like this. You know those negative Nancys. Get away from those people. Get the fuck away. You need to be around people who are optimistic. And I'm not talking about like putting lipstick on a pig, right? I'm still realistic. I see what's out there. But you can look for the good in every situation. So be very conscious of where your focus is. And what I talk about a lot is the power of auto-suggestion. Auto-suggestion, for those who don't know, was started by a guy named Emil Q in the late 1800s, talks about in Think and Grow Rich. And it's really just like chance and how you speak to yourself and how you speak to your brain over and over and over again. And this stuff matters, guys. It matters a ton. At this point, for the last 8 years, I've been following all these things. My brain is like one giant motivational speech. It's just like, let's fucking go. Let's
Just Ray Lewis in there.
Like, I am not held captive by worries. Do I get in negative thought loops? Of course, but I can snap out of them. That's the difference. The human brain, it gets into negative thoughts, but I can snap out of it. So I want to talk more about that as we move forward. But just remember, guys, where focus goes, energy flows. So if we're focusing on good things, we're expecting good things, we're seeing good things. There's something about the universe, there's something about life that will open up opportunities. It's because it's actually the reticular activation system. They're trying to, talk about this in science. The RAS system will start noticing things. We'll start noticing opportunities, right? And if you notice something bad, it's gonna be bad. And I want to use a quick analogy, guys, because this is awesome. Very simple right here, very powerful. So this was a psychology test done. There's a street, right? And they took two groups of people. These were like college kids, smart kids, right? Or smart young adults. And there's two groups of people. Same block of street. One group was told, okay, walk down this block I need you for everything that is negative on the block. I need you to look for boats in the lawn. I need you to look for tiles missing from the roof. I need you to look for, screwed up lawns, dead grass, trash, whatever it might be, right? The other group was told to look for everything positive. Okay, they had to, was this grass cut well? Did that, door look nice? Whatever, was the house nice? Was the paint good? Look for the good things. So one group focused on the good, one group focused on the bad. When they came back, they were given a test. And they were told to ask, hey, what was your overall perception of the neighborhood? And guess what happened? The group that looked for the negative thought the neighborhood sucked and it was shitty, right? And the group that looked at it as positive thought it was positive and great. Like, think about that for a second, guys. Same fucking reality, same thing. All that was different was the mind. It was the mind that they looked at and they saw, and you could look for it. That's a very simple analogy, but that one's really, really, really powerful. And the same thing can happen with events, right? And this is one thing you need to learn is every situation is neutral. It's our thoughts that give it meaning. Okay, so nothing in life means anything except for the meaning we give it. And I can use an example. This is kind of an extreme example, but I want to talk about 9/11. And again, I don't want to get into conspiracies, guys. This is used for an example. Okay, whether the government did it or we did it, I don't know. I don't fucking have any idea. But there's a group of people who, if they actually did do it, who took claim for it, was excited about it, happy about it. And of course, us here in America, we lost a lot of lives. Same exact event, mindset made it look different. Okay. And that can be done everywhere. So like, I use these examples because you can find positive in every single situation, and how we look at life is so important, because you talk about getting up at 5 a.m. every day and 4:30 a.m. And I'm convinced the reason I'm able to do this is because I've train myself to be so excited about the work ahead. I'm so connected with my vision of the deeper person, where I'm going, that I cannot wait to wake up. Like, I look at the clock and if I wake up at 2:30 in the morning, I'm like, fuck, I got to go back to sleep. Shit. Like, because I've found that if I get up at 3 or 3:30, I'm pretty tired. Like, I got to sleep till at least 4 or 4:30, right? And the more excited you get, the easier it is to get up in the morning. I'm going to use another example of this, because I like to use examples to connect some of these mindset concepts. Think about Christmas. Think about when you were a kid, right? Christmas, if you're a kid, or if you don't celebrate Christmas, think about going on vacation. Think about how hard it was to sleep the night before, how excited you were, how early you got up in Christmas. Okay, so if you can connect that belief with your vision, with your goal, with the life-changing thing, then it's going to be so much easier to wake up every morning. And look, guys, a lot of this shit sucks. A lot of the work you got to do getting started sucks. There's a lot of fires I got to deal with now. It sucks, right? But the alternative is so much worse. So we've got to really connect with this vision, get excited about it, get fucking pumped up. And yeah, I'm good with that. I could go on forever.
Say a lot for the people in the back.
Dude, I'm on a mission to spread happiness and joy and different lines of thinking that I've learned from so many others. Like, none of this was I didn't create it. I just went out and started studying books, concepts, things like that. And what I really want to do in this group, obviously we're going to talk about how to make tons of money, how to sell, how to run awesome marketing. But I really want to bring that fulfillment side into things too, because success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Tony Robbins says that as well. There's nothing worse than we see. Robin Williams hung himself a couple of years ago. Like, who would have ever thought that guy would be upset? He wasn't fulfilled, right? So as we do these things, we need to, be fulfilled and happy as we get along. And that was kind of a side tangent. All I know is to get excited, guys. Don't get excited. You don't need to get excited about prospecting or finding 500 emails. You need to get excited about where you're going to be in 6 months, or what it's like when you close that deal. That's what you need to be focusing on, because that's how you can get excited about doing the little shit that sucks.
And exactly. And I think 100% in agreement. I think something too to remember as well, I know I made my goal to make 10K, guys. Obviously certain situations call for certain behaviors and circumstances, but similar to what you've said to the group, don't make your goal centered around a dollar amount, because that leaves you how I felt after burnt out. It leaves you just a little bit empty. Whereas instead, if you make your goals process oriented, and really focused on the journey you're on, as long as I wake up every day and do 50 calls and 50 emails, 6 days a week, I don't care if you don't do anything else. You outsource everything. If you make 50 calls and 50 emails 6 days a week, and you can't sell one new client a month, oh my, that's bad. It is. It is. It's like you're not following any process from anyone who's done anything. If you can't close one person a month at
process of the world and still get, you can still get sales from that, bro. 100% agree. Plan your days. Make sure you always be profitable. Yeah, sales above all else, right? Like when things are good, sales above all else. When things are bad, sales above all else. Awesome, man. We got a couple questions here that I want to talk about. And Neil, the second book that I mentioned was called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. That's Tolle. That book really shattered my reality. I don't think I've even been upset since I read that book. Like I haven't overreacted and been mad in like 10 years. And the people can vouch for that around me too. And it's not like I hold it in either. Mitch, failure has been the best way of learning for me throughout this whole thing. Bro, failure is everything. So Darren Hardy talks about this in a great book called Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. And he said, the most successful person in any room is the and that really stuck with me. Like we should get excited about failure. Okay, we can have failures high because you know what failure is? All it is feedback from the environment so that way we can course correct and take a slightly different action. Okay, there's no such thing as failure. You just learn how not to do something. You know, that's all it means. And if you take enough action, you're going to learn enough of what not to do. And eventually you're going to fucking figure it out, right? If you do it enough, somehow you're going to get there if you just have hunger and drive and don't give up and keep going. The problem is people give up and they give up too early. Like the minute shit gets hard, especially in this day and age, because we live such soft, easy lives. I can only imagine what our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents were going through, like going to the bathroom in outhouses and shit. You know, they go across the country, you know, they were sitting on horse buggies and like half the crew would like die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that was normal.
Yeah, depression and anxiety and some of the stuff is like a first world problem. Now, I'm not talking about chemical imbalances, things like that. Please, I don't want to go down that route. But it's like we've gotten things too easy where we can sit around and people are upset and they get anxiety from looking at Facebook of other people because they're worried about their lives. Like, how soft are we? Like, fuck. So yeah, I love that failure thing. Do you have something to say there, man? Sorry, I'm just getting.
Nah, you hit the nail on the head, man. That's literally it.
Yeah.
People are soft. It's true. So I think the world sees it. So.
And I think that part of my background really helped a lot with that. You know, I've had some gnarly stuff happen and, you know, spending nights in jails and, you know, doing a lot of drugs. You feel pretty shitty. You know, when I'm about to die multiple times.
Well, probably not in the moment. Probably not in the moment. You probably felt pretty great at the time.
When you're down, bro, you feel like you're about to die.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Let's see. And Neil, NLP is awesome, bro. Definitely awesome. I want to get into it. I want to become a practitioner. I'm very familiar with it. Read multiple books on it. It's basically talks about the way you can view reality and control your thought processes, your mind. Because guys, guess what? You can control the voice in your head. You can direct it and you can own it, and you can stop yourself from feeling negative emotions. It's quite fascinating. We'll talk about it on this channel.
Well, let me say a piece on that. One thing that really helped me is that I learned this from a mindset coach. His name's Matt Fury. So you guys should check him out. He's like a world-winning martial artist, and you would not expect it because he kind of looks like he's short and pudgy. But one thing he talks about is similar, kind of like what we were saying earlier on find your private space. Even in your mind, have your own sanctuaries. Yeah. Like in my mind, I have like spaces in my head. I have like a movie theater and it's got one seat, just the director's chair. And it's got, you know, a big door. And the second I walk in there, I'm 12 feet tall and everything on screen, I'm larger than life. And so when I replay my memories, no negative memories are allowed in there. It's a sanctuary. Yeah. And so even in like the saddest moments, you know, and I think everyone's had whatever is sad to them feel equally as sad as whatever I may have felt. So whenever your saddest moment is, you definitely don't let that moment get in there. You just think of moments where you're winning. And when you juice yourself up like that with your own, you know, like Happy Gilmore, your own private sanctuary where it's just, you got your family, you got, you know, your beautiful wife, whatever she looks like, beautiful to you, beautiful to, you know, you can be 100 years old. It's all about what do you see in your head and can you keep that sacred? Because as you said, the voices, sometimes they'll try and tear it down and believe me, you know, always, literally always. And that's why I got in that little burnout. And it's just like I actually saw someone comment every day. And John Logar says, every day is a restart. And it's such like a mental it's such like a mental for millennials. I know if you're my age or, you know, if you guys are like 26, like 20, you know, around there, like 30 and whatever, I definitely understand sometimes you guys might be like, fuck, this is still going. Like, I'm an entrepreneur and there's no fucking end to this. But there is an end. And I think that's important to realize is plan that exit strategy by using those positive memories in your head to then forecast a positive future by taking those same feelings and applying that to here. Because I know even for myself, and then probably until I saw a bunch of these Tony Robbins ads come on my screen of, do you have a clear exit strategy? And, you know, it goes on. You listen to the full thing every time. It's got hundreds of thousands of views now, I'm sure, because it's that important. And it's true. You know, start with that end process in mind, even if it's just, you know, you don't plan to go to dinner without thinking in your head, like, all right, like I'm going to leave here satisfied. That's your thinking. You don't just like, oh, I'm just going to go to this restaurant and if I eat, I don't eat. What the hell would be the point of going? It's the same with business. There's always an exit plan. There's always got to be an exit strategy. And I think learning that mentally, like putting yourself in these places to piece it all together, that's where I'm at. And it's like some days, you know, like I said, guys, sometimes you might fall and like just be like, fuck, I'm tired. But just recognize we're beginners. And in fact, you're a beginner. You know, I'm a beginner. We're going to be beginners until we're about 40. And then we can probably say we're intermediate. And then at about, you know, 55, like a lot of the big time businessmen in this world, they're like 60 plus.
Yep.
So we got lots of time. Lots of time.
Man, and I love a couple things you said. So the idea of being in the movie theater, one, why would you go see a movie that was shitty over and over again and replay bad things in your mind, right? Like think about that. You know, again, we can control this. Two, I would highly recommend where your guy got that from was Plato's Cave Allegory Theory, where he talks about being in a cave.
Nice.
It's like unchaining the mind. Another great book I would recommend is Spiritual Enlightenment, The Damned as well. I love that. Mitch Williams, Psycho-Cybernetics, The Power of Visualization is absolutely key. I'm not going to say unless I'm fucking law like just sit in a basement and picture shit and it's going to happen. No, but you got to see where you're going in order to fucking get there, guys. And there's things I've been visualizing for years that have recently been coming true, and it's amazing how clear they are. Journaling is key. You got to dominate your mind. All right, man, we're just over an hour here, Andrew. So I want to cut it down, but I think in 2 weeks what I'm going to do is a full-blown mindset style training and talk about this and just share
nice.
See how it fits with you guys, because there's so much stuff that's changed my life. I know, Andrew, we've talked a lot. You've learned so much from other people. And I love to hear talking to you because you bring different ideas on it because we're into the same type of stuff. And this stuff is so key, guys. So with that being said, man, any last words, anything you want to drop? I know we just got kind of on a tangent there, but anything else?
Yeah. I mean, you know, just going back to it. Yeah. So if you guys, you know, I'll do a little shameless plug, if that's all right, Nick here. Yeah, if you guys are looking for any, let's plug it. Let's do it. So I know one thing I do a lot is branding. I work with a lot of, right now I'm working with a lot of CFO athletes. So I got like probably the top 5 CFO guys I'm working with. You know, other than that aren't quarterbacks. Obviously the quarterbacks are, you know, they're whatever. Half of them don't even have social media in the CFO. Actually, even in the NFL, they're not too big on it. But anyways, when it comes to branding, I know I can definitely help a lot of you guys with that, even if it's just in terms of strategy. Now, one thing I will pitch, just, you know, obviously if you guys are very interested in terms of designs. So if you like the logo, you kind of like, you know, some of the banners or different content you're seeing there. That's something I would love to really connect you guys with and, you know, strengthen the actual pieces of your brand. That'd be great. If you have any questions for me, like tips or something like that, just hit me up. And when it comes to the branding with the logo, yep.
Hold on 1 second, bro. I want to jump in because I want to pitch for it. So Instagram, logos, websites,
awesome.
Guys, talk to this guy. Like seriously, he's doing
websites, especially websites. Yes,
I love what he's doing. It's been great, amazing to work with. So I highly recommend him. I don't do this very often, but he is my guy on stuff behind the scenes here. So I wanted to bring him in, nice. And he's also, you know, become a really good friend. So reach out to him, see what's up. I recommend it. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that type of stuff, definitely check it out, man.
Awesome. Wow. You know what? Thank you. This says recording, I hope. So I'm going to be, no, I'm just playing. All right. Thank you very much, man, for bringing me on to everybody. I hope, you know, you got a little something out of this. You know, the final thing I'll say, I know, Nick, you definitely take it away. But the final thing I'll say is, you know, a lot of people will tell you no. a lot of literally trying to be a pro athlete. I can't even tell you. My own mom, the day before I got drafted, told me to literally stop, go back to school because I dropped out, go back to school and just, you know, go live my life that way. So you're going to face it from the toughest of competition in terms of people telling you no, even your immediate family trying to tell you no. You know, tell yourself yes. Just choose yes every time. Even if you suck, I'm telling you, if I shoot 40% of what you're shooting, Nick, using your process, I'm pretty satisfied with that's way better than the alternative of where things could be in my life or in anyone else's life that kind of grew up similar circumstance. So find a mentor, find a peer, level up your peers. From there, find a mentor, a process, you know, that makes sense, and then try to whoop your mentor. So then you're mentoring him, and then, you know, it can be the other way around. That's the point. You always want to level each other up. That's how society and life works. Because at one point, if I have a mentor who's 80 years old, he's going to die. Well, what do? I got to got to pass it on. I got to focus on pulling someone else up. So if you're kind of caught in a rut, because, you know, Nick, you pulled me up, but I was already doing pretty good numbers prior. You just really, I'm starting to really see some good numbers. Yeah. So to the people starting out, not that I'm saying Nick is definitely the guy to look to when it comes to agency. But just in terms of mindset, if you're just starting, I'm telling you, you're going to encounter right now, you have one client, two clients, they might leave, whatever. You're going to encounter right now the swiftest competition to have you stop, because everyone who can't do it doesn't want you to do it. I'm telling you that. Just keep going. Just choose you can win, and you'll win.
Fucking win. The swiftest competition for you to stop. That was sick line.
Yeah.
That, I'm not even going to drop that. Guys, get over the hill. Keep going. You're going to get kicked in the nuts. But remember what I talked about earlier. The alternative is working for the rest of your life for 50 years to try and maybe enjoy a retirement you don't even know if you're going to get to. So take advantage of the opportunity now. There's never been a big go get it in the markets we're in right now. There's never in the history of the world been this type of opportunity, and we've got it. You're in a good place. Make sure you guys stick around here. I'll always be dropping, you know, all kinds of knowledge, helping you guys grow. I've done this before. Andrew, my man, thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you.
We're back, guys.